Before 1920, women did not worry about bad breath. Before 1930, men bought their girlfriends any ring they could afford. Before 1931, Santa Claus did not wear red. Someone changed all of that on purpose for profit. Here is the six advertisement model that left you wondering. By the late 1920s, the American tobacco industry had a problem. Half the population was not smoking. Women. In 1929, a woman smoking in public was considered scandalous, improper, something respectable women simply did not do, which meant tobacco companies were leaving an enormous amount of money on the table. So, the industry hired a man named Edward Bernays. Bernays was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. He was not an advertiser in the traditional sense. He did not design posters or write slogans. He studied people, what they feared, what they wanted, what they felt when nobody was watching. He asked a psychoanalyst a simple question: what do cigarettes mean to women? The answer came back: power. Something they were told they could not have. A symbol that belonged to men and was kept from them deliberately. Bernays took that and built a plan around it. He contacted a group of wealthy socialites in New York. He asked them to march in the 1929 Easter parade, smoking openly in the street. He told them exactly what to say if anyone asked why. We are lighting torches of freedom. Then he called every journalist in the city and told them something remarkable was about to happen. The photographs ran in newspapers across the country the next morning. Women, marching, smoking, chin up. Editors framed it as a feminist statement, a moment of defiance, something historic. Within months, female smoking rates began climbing. Within years, they had transformed the industry entirely. Nothing about the cigarette changed, only the story around it. In the 1930s, diamond engagement rings were not a universal tradition. They existed. Wealthy families bought them. But for most people, an engagement ring was simply a ring. Any ring. The material did not carry specific meaning, and there was no rule about what it should cost. De Beers wanted to change that. De Beers controlled most of the world's diamond supply. The problem was not availability. The problem was that diamonds, unlike gold, had no practical value. They could not be melted down or traded easily. Once purchased, they mostly sat in boxes, which also meant the resale market was a threat. If people started selling old diamonds, prices would drop, and the illusion of rarity would collapse. De Beers hired the advertising agency N.W. Ayer in 1938 and gave them an unusual instruction: do not sell the diamond. Sell the idea that a diamond cannot be given up. The campaign that followed did not run traditional advertisements at first. Instead, it placed diamonds inside movies, elegant women receiving them from men who loved them. It briefed newspaper columnists to write about diamonds as the only appropriate symbol of lasting commitment. It sent diamonds to celebrities and made sure photographers were present when they wore them. Then, in 1947, came the line that finished the job: a diamond is forever. 4 words that told an entire generation that a diamond engagement ring was not a purchase. It was a permanent promise, something that should never be sold, never be returned, never be replaced with something cheaper. It became the most successful advertising slogan of the 20th century. And the tradition it created, a diamond ring as the only acceptable symbol of an engagement, did not exist in any meaningful way before De Beers decided it should. Listerine was created in 1879 as a surgical antiseptic. For the first few decades of its existence, it was sold to dentists and hospitals. Sales were modest. The product worked, but nobody felt urgency around it. In 1920, the company's advertising team made a decision that would change marketing permanently. They invented a disease. The medical term halitosis had existed in obscure literature for years. It simply meant bad breath. It was not considered a serious condition. It was not something people worried about socially. It had no stigma attached to it. Listerine's advertisements changed that in a matter of months. They ran copy that described halitosis as a hidden social condition, something that ruined careers, something that ended relationships, something that the person suffering from it could never detect in themselves, but that everyone around them noticed immediately and silently judged. One advertisement showed a beautiful woman sitting alone at a party. The copy read that she was always a bridesmaid, but never a bride. Another showed a successful man passed over for promotion, not because of his work, because of his breath. The advertisements did not mention that most bad breath was caused by digestive issues or dry mouth that mouthwash could not fix. They simply repeated the same message in different forms. You may have this problem. You cannot smell it yourself. Everyone else can. Listerine sales increased by over 700% in the following years. The company had not improved the product. They had created a fear that did not exist at scale before they named it, and then sold the cure. In the 1890s, Pears soap became one of the first mass-marketed consumer products in history. The man behind its advertising was Thomas Barrett, who understood something that most of his contemporaries did not. People did not buy soap because they wanted to be clean. They bought it because they wanted to be seen as clean. And in Victorian England, cleanliness was not just a hygiene standard. It was a class marker, a moral signal. White skin, smooth hands, and a certain kind of appearance were associated publicly with refinement and status. Barrett designed campaigns that tied Pears soap directly to that association. The most famous was a painting by the artist John Everett Millais, originally called Bubbles, showing a small golden-haired boy blowing soap bubbles. Barrett purchased the rights to the image and reprinted it with the Pears soap name added at the bottom. It ran everywhere, in magazines, on posters. Inserted into newspapers as a full page, the image carried no argument, no claim about cleaning power, no list of ingredients, just a beautiful child, soft light, and the name of the soap beneath it. It told people that this product belonged to a certain kind of life, a comfortable life, a respectable one. Sales climbed and never came back down. Pears became not just a soap, but a symbol of a kind of household people wanted to believe they were. Before 1931, Santa Claus did not have a fixed appearance. He existed in various forms across different cultures and different Christmas traditions. Sometimes tall and thin, sometimes dressed in green or brown or blue, sometimes stern, sometimes jolly. The image had never been standardized in any lasting way. Then Coca-Cola hired the illustrator Haddon Sundblom. Coca-Cola had a seasonal problem. People drank cold beverages in summer. Winter sales dropped. They needed a reason for people to associate Coca-Cola with the cold months. Sundblom created a series of illustrations beginning in 1931 showing Santa Claus pausing during his Christmas deliveries to drink a bottle of Coca-Cola. The Santa he painted was specific: large, warm, red suit trimmed with white, rosy cheeks, white beard, eyes that suggested he had seen everything and found most of it amusing. The illustrations ran in major American magazines every Christmas season for decades. And because Coca-Cola had the reach and the budget to put those images in front of almost every household in America, that specific version of Santa became the version. Not because it was traditional, not because it was historically accurate, because it was repeated until it felt like memory. Today, that image is considered the definitive Santa Claus across most of the world. Christmas cards, films, decorations, and department store displays all reference a design that was created to sell a soft drink during winter. In the early 1900s, deodorant did not exist as a consumer product. Perspiration was understood as a natural bodily function. It was managed with regular bathing. There was no social crisis around it, no industry built on eliminating it. That changed when a Cincinnati surgeon named Edna Murphy began marketing a product her father had developed to keep his hands dry during operations. She called it Odorano. The product worked inconsistently and contained an acid that irritated skin. Early sales were poor. Murphy took it to an advertising agency, and the resulting campaign, written by copywriter James Young, did not focus on the product at all. It focused on shame. The advertisement ran in Ladies' Home Journal in 1919 and depicted a woman at a formal dance, her partner leaning slightly away from her. The copy did not need to say much. The image communicated everything. Women wrote letters of complaint to the magazine, hundreds of them. Readers called it offensive and inappropriate. The campaign ran again anyway, and sales tripled. The complaints had proven the strategy worked. The advertisement made women feel that a problem they had not previously considered, a social liability, was in fact one of the most socially damaging things about them. Within a decade, underarm perspiration had been transformed from a biological fact into a source of personal failure. An industry that did not exist in 1900 was generating millions in revenue by 1925. It has not stopped since. If you think you need to know more bizarre things like these, just tap on the subscription button.